fine. Good. Good, Gaurav. See, it's all because of Gaurav. Yeah, things are fine. It's all because of Gaurav. Gaurav could not attend the last week. I fell sick. I don't know who was not able to attend last week. I was not able to make it, but then good. We are here now. Cool. Vikas had sent me an email that he will not be able to make it. Others, I'm not sure what would have happened. For some reason, the interest seems to have fizzled out last week, yes, but then it's important. Folks, can you confirm if you have got an email regarding the projects? I had Hisham send across an email to everybody in the batch regarding a folder called as projects.zip. Can you confirm if you have received it? Did you check your LMS or did you check your emails to see if there was an email? Can I get a confirmation from anyone, friends? Good. Pankaj says he has received that. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Good. So let me first go ahead and open up my the definitive guide. So let me go down to too many windows here, like always. Go down to not this. Oops, not this too. Yeah. Good, Pani. Great. Thanks for the confirmation, folks. So let me go ahead and see if you're able to see. Yep, there it is. I could confirm that you're also able to see my screen. So that's wonderful. So let's see from this. The whole course has been modeled after this particular book, okay, wherein and let me also come back. So okay, I don't need the week, we know that. We started with what is Hadoop, what is big data, what is HDFS, that was the chapter number 1 and 3. Then we went down to the map radios. Hi Srilal, wish a very good afternoon. Don't frankly recollect Srilal, you are based out of States, right? Sorry friends, memory being a little bit short now. You are based out of Bangalore only. Okay, great. From your batch, we had somebody who had joined in from States, so not sure who it was. See, that's what happens when we cancel batches, right? For whatever reason, we lose touch, we lose the continuity. Yeah, sorry about that at the very outset. My apologies. Last 2 weeks has been a little bit difficult, especially Sundays. But then, good, we are here. So coming back to this, Pankaj, you had sent across an email that you would want a little bit more examples on the map side join and reduce side join. I saw that. Did you get a chance to have a look at this particular book and see what are the stuffs that we have here? Like for example, when we go down to our Hadoop IO, okay, in chapter number 4, okay, if you go down to that particular chapter and if you look at, let me go down, yeah, there it is, example 4.1. Okay, so if you look at example 4.1, you will see that there is a couple of examples, and the beauty is that all of these examples can be freely downloaded from the example site what has been provided by the publisher, right? So please go ahead and do that. Yep. So and try those examples. So most of your examples what you have asked for is available in this book or in the next book, that is Hadoop in Action. So then we saw in chapter number 5, 6, 7, 8 is all on map radios. So we were talking about the different roles that we have. So just wanted to check with you, what kind of a role are you folks trying to get into big data? Let's start with Gaurav. So Gaurav, what kind of a role are you looking at? So the different roles that we have ideally is, we have got a role of the developer, that's a map reduce developer. We have got a role of the business analyst, so who would basically be writing pig and hive. We have got a role of the system integrator, who would be knowing all the components and see how interactions happen between that. And of course, you'll have a role of the administrator. So what is the role that all of you folks are looking out for? and then we will have to discuss about the file that you got, that was the projects file. I'll open it up and I'll explain how to go ahead with it. Now, unfortunately, what has happened is that yours were the batch which we had started a long back, but then because of the last 2 weeks we got delayed. Other batches have already finished and they have started working with the exercises also, guys. Good. Pankaj, you are looking out for an architect kind of role, okay? So, okay, data analyst, okay, cool. So what is important would be that you need to have some proof of concept, right? Simply saying that I have done this, I have taken up this course. Pani is looking out for a program manager's role. Okay, good. So yours would be a more of your general experience what you have, Pani. Okay, an experience. There's a vacancy in JPMC right now. I don't know where you are based out of, but in Hyderabad, JPMC is looking out for a program manager's kind of a role. I just was there last week. Okay, so I was discussing with them. So they are having something. So if you are based out of Hyderabad, Pani, give it a shot. Give the HR person a call. Srilal talks about a tech lead or as a lead developer. Okay, so then again, when you're talking about, okay, that's good, Pani. So if you're based out of Hyderabad, get in touch with them. They are looking out for specific projects in that particular role. You know, there are got projects. No, JPMC, JP Morgan Chase. That's the company, Pani. JP Morgan. Okay, cool. Okay, so coming back to this, after that, chapter number 9 and 10 was basically on the administration part. That's what we did in chapter 2. Okay, then we saw Pig Hive, we saw HBase, the basics of HBase in our session, and then we had done Scoop also. Okay, so this session is basically going to have 3 components. We will talk about the second part. You also would, how many of you have got, you're welcome, Pani. Be in touch, and it's basically word of mouth. So most of these top end locations are looking, it's basically through word of mouth. I might not have the contact, Pankaj, but it is easily available. Okay, give them a call and they would have that information very easily available. Okay, sure, Pankaj. Okay, so coming back to this, so today the way we will organize is I'm going to talk about what kind of a project, how are you going to go ahead with that, to discuss your ideas on that, help you out with that. So there are 2 deliverables that would be expected. One, after this, once you select the data set that you want, you would have got an email for the data set. So once you select the data set, you will send us an email stating that, okay, this is the data set, this is the analysis that we're going to do, and then you will go ahead with that analysis. Every analysis should mandatorily have a component, a small analysis. It could be, depends upon how comfortable your Java is. Okay, so you should have an analysis on MR, map radios. You should have a Hive and a Pig, and as optional, you will have an HBase and you will have Scoop. So if you have all of these things, then that will be wonderful. Okay, but then the last 2 things we have kept it as optional, but then at least it should have app ready. So that would be the proof of concept. So once you finish that, you'd be given a certificate by Dureka stating that this is what you have done, this is what is the proof of concept that you have done. That will be mentioned in the certificate for you, and that is something that you can proudly go and show people and say, hey, this is what I have. And now let's get started. Sorry, Gaurav. I don't know whether you can still hear me, Gaurav. It looks like you're having some bad internet at your place. Pankaj, Srilal, Pani, I hope you can hear me. Okay, cool. Srilal says yes, so that's good. That's good. Thanks, both of you. So sorry about that, Gaurav. So I'll have to just let him know. Sorry about that. Please listen to the recording and let me know if you need any help. Okay, I'm going to send it privately to Gaurav. Okay, that's done. Cool. Yeah, so Pankaj is asking, does IBM Big Data is something different? Absolutely not. So their InfoSights product, what they have, that is again like your Mapr or like your Cloudera. So it's exactly the same. So there's no difference at all. Good, Gaurav, you can hear now. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. That's nice. Cool. Okay. So that's it. So this was about this. Plus my request would be also try the examples what you have with the Hadoop in action. Spend some time on Hadoop in action. Okay. That is by Chuck, C-H-U-C-K Lum, L-E-M. So please read that particular book, Chuck's book on Hadoop in action. That's also a lot of people have mentioned, because from my other batches also and from my contacts, the industry contacts via LinkedIn, a lot of people are planning for certifications. Anybody planning for certification here? I'm talking about Cloudera certification. Anybody has that? Okay, wonderful, Srilal. So if you're planning for your certification, then I think it's must that you should read both Chuck's book, that is Hadoop in Action, and the definitive guide, Srilal. Okay. So that's what is important. Plus, you can put it on your LinkedIn group that you're planning for your certification, or else you can send across an email to your contacts so that I can try to link across people who are there, okay? And you could form a team of yourselves and try to do some group study and things like that. Basically, it is always helpful if three people, I always believe that when three people are planning for certification together, it will benefit all three of them, because everybody can't read everything. So what you should ideally have is that you should have try to meet up once a week or once in 2 weeks for about 1 or 2 hours, okay, across a lunch or a dinner, and then ask questions, and that's how it will be mutually beneficial. So I've seen that pretty effective because all of us are busy with our regular work, but then we need to get certified too. Srilal, from this batch, is anybody planning? Gaurav, Pankaj, Pani, is anybody planning for certification? I know Peter was planning. He was from Oracle, if I'm not mistaken, but then Vikas was planning, I know. So why don't you send across an email to me, or else on LinkedIn ask, put this, Srilal, I'll put you in touch with who all are there. Cool. Okay, so that's about Pani. I think the certification would be costing you. I need to look at the pricing, the current pricing, but then typically they give the certification voucher free of cost when you take up the course. The course is about $1,800 or something, but then they do have, I think it's $250 or something. $250 is what the price is. The effort, Pani, would be again, whatever you have done. It is just that what is the hands-on experience what you have, and have a look at their topic list, okay, and focus on that. That's all that would be needed, Pani. Okay, cool. So now let's get going. Like I said, I hope you would have got my email to download Eclipse on Linux, right? How many of you have got Eclipse on Linux already up and running, friends? You would have got that email, right? Okay, okay. Funny, surprising. Srilal said, okay, Pankaj had done it long back. Okay, that's fine, Pani, no worries. So, and moreover, since you're using a remote access, that would be a challenge for you also. So if you're trying to do that, cool, cool. So that's nice. What about you, Gaurav? Because by default, Edgebase, if you want to run it, it looks for the local host. Of course, you can configure it. Let me talk to the Hisham, or else you can also write an email to Hisham and check up if a GUI environment can be shared. Okay, like what they have given you the PuTTY access. If a GUI environment can be shared, and you can play around with that. Looks like Gaurav is having some issues with his network, but then that's fine. Let's continue. Good, guys. So the next aspect was, one was to show you where the course is, how is it going. The next is to show you the projects that the file that you had got. So that's as an effort by us. Let me go to Hadoop. Let me go down to projects. Okay, so have a look at this particular PDF. So in the PDF on the top, you will see that there is a link to that particular download. So all that I have to do is I have to click on that link and it will actually take me to that particular download, guys. Okay, there it is. So you can view all the data sets. Okay, there are about 245 data sets what you have over here. It talks about what kind of classification of the data sets is, okay, in the automobiles. Okay, so play around with this. This is the first data set that you have. The document that we have, that is the use cases.docx, is basically taken up from IBM, wherein you can think of any use case which is having, let's say the first one is when you talk about big data exploration, 360-degree view of the customer. If you recollect, I have done this project long back in about 2010 with Bank of America for the 360-degree view. Okay, so this was the original requirement. You can talk about security intelligence extensions. You can talk about operations analysis. You can talk about data warehouse augmentation. Okay, various use cases is what is mentioned in this particular document. I've taken it from the IBM site itself, so you can have a look at that. The next thing what you can look at is, look at this research quality data sets. Okay, again the site is mentioned. You can easily go down over there and find out. So a lot of data sets. What am I trying to show you? Okay, Pankaj, you are saying that you haven't got these documents. Fair enough, no problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly write to Hisham right now, okay, in front of you. I had mentioned it to send it. Some of the teams got it. So some of the teams, you will get it before we finish the class, guys. So no concerns on that. Give me a second. Okay, just signing into my, oops. Signing into my Edureka page. Okay, let me compose to Hisham and let me send it across to support and couple also. Okay, project data set for Sunday 2:30 to 5:30 batch. Dear Hisham, can you please send across the project data sets to this batch? I was asking them if they had got it, and they confirmed they had not. Okay, I'll put it with a smiley. Thanks, Venkat. Okay, so others, can you confirm that you haven't got this project data set? Okay, the problem is with the network, no audio. I can only see the screen. I'll try to reconnect again soon. So no problem, Gaurav. Definitely watch the recording. Okay, and I'll send it across to him. Cool. Okay, Pani says he got the project documents email. Pankaj, okay, to all participants to this batch. Pankaj, can you confirm? Pani says he has got it. Others, if you can confirm. And Pankaj confirmed he had not. Okay, fair enough. So Pankaj, you'll also get this once I send this across. Okay, no worries. Cool. So I can close this. Fine. Okay, so this is one data set. Okay, let me close this. Then let's talk about publicly available large data sets for research. Okay, stuff that I got from the various links. See here how each million songs data set Okay, you can search this particular link, okay, and then try to get more. Then you have got your OpenStreetWiki. Of course, I have shown you the NYC open data, right? So that is something that you would have seen already. You would have seen something from the Government of India also, what I had shown it to you. The other good thing is you also have the Wikipedia, okay, lot of dataset details, okay. Then see, this is the Wikipedia, but remember they are huge, guys, okay. And finally, you will look at this particular toolkit. It's called as Cloud9, which is a Hadoop toolkit for working with big data. So have a look at this also. Then you have got a Wikipedia dump, Stack Exchange Data Explorer. You can try this also, Stack Overflow's data along with Wikipedia data. So a lot of things is available for you. So what I want is, I would want you to look at these documents, okay, decide what kind of a project. Within a week's time, send us an email telling us, hey, what have you decided on the project, and then start with it. If you get stuck, okay, somewhere in between, we will be there to give you guidance also. And after you finish the project, you have to give us a viva, okay, maybe about half an hour, discuss on the project, what have you achieved in that, how did you achieve that, send it to us for review, and then you have your POC certificate with you folks. Okay, okay, cool. So yeah, thanks, you reminded me, Pani. This is for announcement for everybody in this batch that a lot of people are asking, how do I get the link for the Twitter data? So we had delivered, one of my colleagues had delivered the Twitter data demo to another batch, okay? So that was some time back. So that demo also, I have requested them to share with everybody. So you would have got that details, Pani. So no worries, you will get this email by the end of today. I'm sure about that, Pani. Cool. So that's about the project. I hope it's clear as to what's the expectation that is required. Fine. So we discussed about MapRadios, we discussed about the projects, Twitter demo, I have mentioned it to you, and let's move on. Let me go down to my slide deck to see what are we going to do. So what we have done is, for all the other future courses, this is the way how we have planned it, and we have, for you also, it is almost the same. Okay, week 6 we spoke about HBase and Scoop. Week 7 that we're going to do right now, we'll talk about HBase code plus Zookeeper, plus some of you wanted to talk about Uzi also. Okay, so I'm going to show you the HBase code, point number 1. Point number 2, I'm going to talk to you about the Zookeeper. Okay, what is that coordination service? And finally, we will talk about Uzi, that is a workflow engine. So those are the things that we're going to cover up today. Fine. So coming back to it's a small kind of a question answer session. Okay, let me close this. Let me check if anybody has joined. Oh, okay, fine. That's fine. So quickly, let me know, guys. When will I use what do you call Hive versus Pig? When should I use Hive? When should I use Pig? What is the use case for using either one of these things? Thought I had asked a question, guys. Good, Pankaj. Good, Pani. So Pig is basically for unstructured and non-structured data, whereas Hive is for giving a SQL-like approach to the data set. Yeah, exactly. Hive is for structured, giving a SQL approach to the data set. Good, 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 Pankaj. So when will I use HBase? That's right, Pani. Thank you. Srilal, when will I use HBase? Good, Pankaj. Good. Good, Pani. Srilal, when will I use HBase? So what others have answered is HBase is when you want random writes and random reads. So what is basically HDFS? It is write once, read multiple times, right? So there would be a full table scan of data if you want to read something. Okay, you can't go somewhere in the middle and read the sixth record. You can read the whole block or you can read the whole file together. You can't read a record level, or else you can't even update a record level. It's always append in HDFS, whereas HBase, no worries, Srilal. You are saying real time? No, friend, because we cannot have. Okay, which are the real time components that is there in the market right now? HBase is not real time. It is also batch. No problem at all. It's also batch, friend. Exactly. HBase is near to real time, fine. But then see, this is basically marketing stuff. Real time, near to real time. Either it is real time or it's not real time, right? So marketing people typically call it as near to real time and all that. But then no, the fact remains that HBase is not really real time. Okay. The basic use case of HBase is if you want to do a random write or a random read, then use HBase. So which are the other components or source or work that is going around in the market which talks about real time or again like near real time? Which are the projects? There are two work that is going on. One is already in the market and one is expected soon. So the one that is there already in the market is Impala, IMPALA by Cloudera. Okay, that talks about real time, and we have got Hawk, HAWK, that is by EMC, that is Green Plum. Okay, they have got a product called as Pivotal HD, Pivotal HD, Pivotal HD. So that is also on a real time thing. But then that product is not even available in the beta release right now in the market. Okay, so you can go to Green Plum sites and you can subscribe to the preview access. So whenever they come out with a beta version, they will give it to us for previewing it. So do that, folks. So fine. So random read, random write. Okay. Is HBase a column in a database or it is not a column in a database? And by the way, what is column in a database? I'm confused now. So each HBase NoSQL or each HBase not a NoSQL product? Yes, folks. What's your views on that? Anybody? Pani says it's a kind of NoSQL. Okay. So what is NoSQL? What are the different forms that we have for NoSQL? What is NoSQL? NoSQL stands, yeah, it's a type of columnar database. That's right. Okay. NoSQL typically means not only SQL. So not only RDBMS, we have got graph, we have got document. So all of these database like document is MongoDB, CouchDB. Okay. Then you have got columnar databases like HBase, and we have got another very popular columnar database called as Cassandra. Okay, so then we have got graph database, then we have got in-memory database. All of these things fall under the category of not only SQL databases. Okay, so if you look at a very strict way, HBase is a kind of a distributed data store. You don't even call it as a database. It's basically for easier what do you call when you say something to somebody, they have to understand it quick, right? What is it? If I say it's a distributed data store, looks like a bombastic word, right? Whereas if I say if it's a database, then you'll understand it real quick. What do we store in the database? Some data. Okay, so now since you know what is a data store is something wherein some data will again be stored, but then it is distributed. Okay, so in our SQL world, we have got something called as ACID properties. Okay, whereas in the NoSQL world, we have got something called as CAP, C-A-P algorithm. So any idea, guys, what is this CAP algorithm? Have you heard about this CAP algorithm? I'm sending it to all. Okay, fair enough. No worries. CAP stands for consistency, availability, and partitioning. Okay, so most of the NoSQL databases would be having, they don't follow the concept of asset properties because it's not sacrosanct for them. Asset properties is not important for them. But what is important for them is CAP, which stands for consistency, availability, and partitioning. Okay, Cassandra is, if you look at the comparison slide what I had shown last time between HBase and the other NoSQL products, I mentioned that HBase prefers consistency over availability, right? So that is what is the CAP algorithm what I was referring to, friends. Okay, so HBase has got to, out of those CAP 3, okay, 2 things is what you can select. You can't have all the 3 things, okay, because consistency and availability are opposite directions, are pointing in opposite directions, okay. So Cassandra is availability and partitioning access, whereas HBase is consistency and partitioning access, okay. So that's those are the 2 features that are supported by both of these 2 separate columnar databases. So when I say columnar database, what is happening? Everything is stored in a column. Okay, so we saw that last time. Can you let me know what is the advantage of this columnar databases? Why columnar? We have got row level access, right? So what is the advantage that a columnar database or storing data in columns help me? Anybody? Good, Pani. Easy aggregations. Can you let me know how aggregations become easy? You are correct. Because it's related to how the data is stored on the disk, right? So when I did this for a couple of folks in my instructor-led training, people were simply not following it. So what I did is, I went ahead and I prepared a small document. Of course, I've taken it from the net, okay, gathered across a stuff of things and created this. So I'm going to show that, and that document will also be shared with you. So let me go down to customers, Edureka, go down to week 7. And you see here today you will be getting your presentation of the PDF file, Uzi, HBase document, and columnar basic. Okay, so I have got this columnar basic, and there we are. Let's quickly walk through this. Okay, a column-oriented database serializes all the values of a column together, then the values of next column. So only columns in the query needs to be retrieved. So typically what happens is when I say select something from where, it has to look through all the records, right? So if you want faster access in database, what do we use? Pani says all the columns are stored in sequence. Yes, wonderful. So all the columns are stored in sequence at the physical layer itself. Okay, so that's good, Pani. So now, if I want a faster access in our RDBMS, let's say I have got primary key. Okay, primary key means it's unique. Okay, let's say it's from 1 to 100. I want to access this faster. So what do we do in our databases to access this primary key fast, friends? Lovely. We index it. Okay. But then I thought it is already indexed, right? No. Although it is sequential when you access it, it is not indexed at the physical data storage level. It is sparse. It's spread across in multiple places. So whenever you read something, there are 2 things that's important. The seek time, okay, getting to the start of that particular record, and the transfer rate. So these are the 2 things which is very important when we talk about anything. So what happens in a database is, since although it is sequential, okay, you have got a primary key, but at the physical storage level, it is not stored as as a sequence. Okay, so that's the reason why we have to create an index. Whereas in HBase, you know that this is auto-sorted, right? It is auto-sorted based on the row key, auto-sorted based on the column key, and then the timestamp. Okay, so you can see over here the advantage of a columnar database is its efficiency of its hardware access. Okay, sorry, hard disk access. That's the bottom line. So let's move on. So let's look at the let's look at, hey, what's happening? Yeah, there it is. Let's look at the disadvantage of a row-based database. In RDBMS, the values are collected and managed as individual rows and events containing related rows. Okay. A row-oriented database must read the whole record in order to access it. So even if when you say select ID comma name from table, it ends up reading the whole record because that's how it is stored in the database. Okay, so queries often end up reading significantly more data than is needed to satisfy the request, and it creates very huge, large I/O burdens. So what do architects and MBAs do? They tune the environment for different queries by building additional indexes, pre-populated data, and materialized views, etc. So this resulted in more processing time and and consume additional persistent storage. And the sad part is most of the tunings that people do are at the query level. So these tunings only address the performance of those queries that is known. So if you perform some ad hoc query, you wouldn't even be able to tune that ad hoc query, friends. Okay, so that's the dimension. So this is how it will be stored as a row basis. This is the tabular view of that. So one difference that matters most is that all the columns of a table are not stored successfully in storage in the data pages. Okay, whereas in a column in a database, everything is stored together. Okay. So that's what we see here. The need for indexes is needed in databases. We know that. It's greatly minimized in column-based systems to the point of not being offered in many columnar databases. Cool. So one last thing before we move on, I just want to show you how it is stored. Okay. So a column-oriented database has the data organized in the form of columns. System can evaluate which column are being accessed and retrieve only the values requested from specific columns. So see here, if this was your row storage physical layout, how the ID, then first name, the position, some number and date of joining. Okay. Now if you put it in as the manager ID is what is the third one. If you see it as a logical layout, this is how it is. Whereas in a column oriented, it's totally different. All the IDs are stored together. Okay, that's why aggregations become faster. All the names are stored together and all the blocks are stored together. Okay, so this is something that I wanted to share with you. And one last thing before we wind up, the food for the thought. Think of it from an efficiency standpoint. When I just want a few songs from an album, it is easy to purchase them from iTunes. When I want most of the songs, I would save a couple of bucks by purchasing the whole album. So when it comes to query, the query either wants a column or doesn't want it. It will not come to like a column later like that it was forced to select. So that's the foundation of the value proposition for columnar database. So folks, the advantage of columnar database is very clear, right friends? A quick yes would be appreciated if you have followed this, or else I'm available for questions. Yes folks, good, good, thank you. Cool, guys. So thanks. So let's move on now. So having said that, then we saw some example wherein we saw the listing. So I'm going to go down to real quick to my. Why can't I minimize this? Where's my minimize button? Very surprising. There is no close button here. Okay, there's a close button. I close that. That's good. I'm going to go. Sorry, I clicked on VMware Player. I should have clicked on VMware Workstation. Cool. So let me start with my VM. Okay. So I'm going to start with my Cloudera VM. This is what we have shown last time. We have done some examples, and I'm sure you would have tried it out. So let's continue. While that gets loaded up, let's start with what we have for today. Let me put this into a slideshow. So we are going to start with Zookeeper. Okay, of course we have got the coding aspect. We will cover up that also. So just wanted to ensure that a little bit of theory is covered. The Zookeeper is covered when we go down to our the actual coding dimension. Let me see if it has come. If it has come, I could first show you the coding part of it. Uh, Okay, Pani, you mentioned that you need to design and implement a small project. True. So what you need to do is just the basic columnar database. That's why I had kept my Edgebase, Zookeeper, and Hive as optional parts of a component. If you can implement that, that will be wonderful. Okay, so the columnar database is what is crucial here. Good. So I have got the Cloudera VM. I'm sure from what you have learned, what you're expecting is from whatever you have learned, I would want you to be able to actually put that to work. Okay, so that's why we are talking about a project, because what you are learning. Okay, I don't know whether you have listened to this. When the VM starts, listen to the beautiful music that gets played when it comes up. You know, it's a very good music. So coming back to our question, Pani, you need to implement it into a small project. So yes, whatever is the knowledge that we have shared with you at the time of the class, using that, okay, you should be in a position to implement it. So what I have seen is that from the examples that has been shared with you, okay, my examples, Edurika's examples, we should be in a position to set up something, friend. Okay. So now let me go back to the. How many of you are having a Cloudera? You're working on Cloudera itself. I know Pani is working on a remote access, but the others, how many of you are there on Cloudera, and how many of you are there on Ubuntu? Later on, if you have a Ubuntu setup, that will be wonderful, because then you have got everything at the local level. Good, Srilal. Okay, since you're there on Ubuntu, that's wonderful. Pankaj, okay, you are in Ubuntu full-fledged. Okay, good, good. So were you able to finish off with the examples, Pankaj, the edge-based examples of listing and all that what I showed you last time? I hope you would have covered that, right? Okay, good. So now over here, like it always happens with Cloudera, they have a user called as edgebase. Okay, so I'm going to say sudo edgebase. Okay, the password is Cloudera. Okay, and when I do my JPS, you see that I have got my Edge master already running over here. Okay, fine. Now I'll say edgebase shell. I'm going to go down to the shell command. Okay, there it is. And when I say list, okay, I don't have anything right now. I've cleaned up everything. I don't have anything right now. Last time you saw how we created a table. So what are the commands what we tried last time? We create a table, we put something into it, we got something from it, and we did scan. Okay, so these are the basic things what we have done last time. Now you could do the same thing in the coding dimension also. Okay, so if you want to do it in the coding way, let me show that to you. So I'll go down to my, first I need to have my Eclipse running. So I'll go down to my computer. So it's just getting started up. There it is. I'll go down to my file system. I'll go down to my home. And in Cloudera, see, I have got the Eclipse atar.gz. Okay, I have used WinSCP and moved the Eclipse over here. I have extracted it here. You also need the jar files. Okay, whatever you have, you already have the files with you, right? In the you need to download Edgebase, because if you're on Ubuntu, you would have done that. Okay, so a quick download is needed when you are trying to do the exercise, because I need the jar files over here. So let me go down to Eclipse where I have extracted it. Okay, and I'm going to start with my Eclipse. There you see the standard Eclipse Juno. This is the developer edition that I'm having that gets launched. So when it comes up, it's going to ask you where do you want the workspace. So within the Cloudera user itself, I have kept my workspace, and I would say okay. Wonderful. So my Juno is starting over here. So while it gets launched, let us get down to the document. That is, this is what will be shared to you by today. The edgebase.docx. You have already done the first part. I presume you would have got this document already, right? You have got it or you haven't got it? This document. A quick confirmation. You haven't got this document. Okay, fair enough. So you will be getting it today. Okay, fine. You'll be getting it today. Cool. Pani says he's got it. Others have not got it. What's happening? Okay, that's fine. So, so this shows you how to install Eclipse in Cloudera. And what I'm mentioning over here, once I do that, I would need this projects inside my build path. Okay, so let me go back to my Eclipse. And in my package explorer, let me maximize this. Bring this fellow down. Okay, I think that's the maximum what it can happen. Let me go ahead and create a project now. So I'm going to go down to, first let me check what is the name. Okay, what I need is I need to create a table. Okay, I need to create a table before I do the first code. The first code is just to show from the code, Java code. Remember I said what are the different ways to access HBase? You can access HBase through a Java API. You can access HBase through a Thrift or a web-based API. You can access HBase through yeah, I think that's it. So Java API, Thrift, or HTTP or REST. Okay. So three ways how you can access it. We are showing you how to do it through the coding way. So the first example is simply going to insert a record into a table. So let me create this query first. When I say query, I'm talking about the table. So sorry about the wrong term. So let me go down. I can close this Eclipse. Here I would need that because I would need to know the name of the file. So let me go down to computer real quick. File system, home, Cloudera. So I want to keep this. I'll minimize it. Let me go down to my HBase shell and I am going to say create, I would say my little HBase table, comma. What is my little family here, friends? Suddenly I forgot. The first one is the table name. What is the second one? What is it technically called in HBase? Anybody? What is my little family here called? Oops. It is called as a column family. Okay. It's called as a column family. So I said cust. What's happening to my spellings? Okay, you see that my little HBase table is there. So nothing would be there in it until now. So what are column families, folks? Pankaj, what is a column family? Srilal, Pani? We did this last time. Any idea what's a column family? Guys, can you hear me? Would appreciate if you can, yes or no is fine, so some communication. Column family is the set of columns which will have some individual columns inside it, okay? Kind of group of columns, right? So you can have, remember last time we had added multiple, the column family name, colon something, okay? So it's a set of columns. Remember we are talking about column in a database, okay? So that's the main difference over here. Fine, friends, that's okay. So let me go ahead. I have created this. Now, let me minimize this. And let me walk you through the code first, and then we will go ahead with our actual executing this in the Eclipse. So first step, I have given comments here so that you would know what it is. Okay. So first step, what are we doing? Like in MapReduce code, we create a configuration. But now instead of saying new configuration, we are saying edgebase configuration.create. So what does this do? It will ensure that it will read your XML files if it is there in the class path, and then it allows you to connect to the table that we just created. Okay. So in the next example, you'll see that from the front end itself, we will create a table and we will insert records into it. In this example, we are just connecting to an existing table and inserting records to it. And remember, for inserting records, we did something called as put. Okay. So see here, I'm calling put. Okay. And I'm specifying, I'm adding a row to it. Okay. Automatically, there will be a timestamp that will be added. You know that already. Okay. So see here, my little family is the name of the table. Some qualifier is what is the value for your my little row. Okay. And you will have some value for that. So that's how the values are being put into this particular table from the front end. Okay. And then you will say table.put of that P instance, that is a put instance. Okay. Then we are retrieving something. Whatever we inserted, we are retrieving it. Okay. That row. Okay. It returns me a result. Like in Java, we have got a result set, right? So it returns a result and it gets what is the value of my little family. Okay. And what is the value of my qualifier. That's a key. Okay. And then it simply prints out what is the value that is coming from there. So all that this code does is, first it inserts a row, then you get a row, okay? And the third option what I'm showing is scan. We have done scan. Scan is basically for select star from so-and-so. So I create a scan object, and in the scan I am calling the columns of my little family and qualifier, and then I put it into a loop, okay? And then I am displaying every row, whatever was found. That's it. Okay. And finally, I close my scan. So that's the code that we are doing. Okay. Which will first create a record, use a get, and then use a scan. Put, get, and scan. That's what this code is doing. So let me go back to the VM. And first step, let me go back to the folder. I already have the code over here, and that's called as edgebase connector.java. So first I need to create a project. So let me go to my Eclipse, and I'm going to say file, new, come on, file, new Java project. Okay, I'm going to create a project called as edgebase connect or edgebase example, because I'm going to use the same project for both the files. I'll say finish. Inside that, create a package. Like always in MapReduce, we used to do that. New package com.evenkat. Oops, there was a spelling. I can't spell my name correctly. What's happening? I'll say finish. And then I'm going to use a class, and that should be called as edgebase connector. Let me confirm that. That is the name of the class that we have. Yep, that's right. So let me minimize this. Edgebase connector is the name of the class, and I'll say finish. So I have got my Java file over there. Where is my edgebase running? It's running in Linux. I've got the connector in Linux. Okay. Now I need to copy the content, so I double click on this file so that it will use gedit. And I'm going to say Control A, Control C, I close this, I minimize this, and here Control V, and let me save this. So now I have got everything ready over here, okay, all set to run. So let me take this window up so that you can actually see it. Hey, something is wrong here. So let me scroll up. Hey, that's true because I don't know where my files are. So if you look at the document, okay, I haven't followed my own document. So what am I saying? Have the following jar files in the build path. Okay. So how do I go to the build path? Right click. I'll go down to my build path. I'll go to my configure build path. I'll go down to my libraries and add external jars. I need to go down to my HBase folder that I've extracted here. I need the HBase jar plus, oops, cancel, plus add external jars. I'll go down to my lib and I will start with zookeeper.jar because that's the most important jar file that is needed here. Okay, I will say add external jars. I'll go down to my common logins.jar. That's the next important file that we have here. I thought I clicked OK. Okay, add external jars. I need the Hadoop file, Hadoop jar. Okay, in the example I have said Hadoop 0.20. Okay, but then the actual name of the jar is 0.20 append so and so and all that. That's fine. It's the same jar I'm referring to. I've added that. Have added everything. No, I need log4j. One last jar that I had missed was log4j because I need the logins. I will go down to L and I'll say OK. And I'll say OK. And now all these errors should vanish. Okay, there it is. There is only one warning. Let me go and check what that warning. Yeah, table is never closed. I'm fine with that. Okay, I created a table. It's trying to tell me that, hey, I didn't close a table. I'm fine with that. And now I need to run this. So I'll say right click, like the standard way how you run your Java code. You'll go down to run as, and you will run it as a Java application. And see what happens in the command prompt over here. Okay, in the console, let's go up on the top. See here, it is automatically calling up the Zookeeper version 3.3.2. So what it's doing is, whenever you start with your HBase, by default there should be a Zookeeper instance without installing it. Here in your Cloudera VM, the Zookeeper has been installed. Even if you don't install Zookeeper, you should specify where is the Zookeeper folder and all that in the XML files of your hbase-site.xml, and that should be enough. Okay, so it says what are the Java version, what are the path and all that. Okay, fine. And see here, it's initializing, opening up socket connection. Okay, let me scroll down. So opening up socket connection on 127.0.0.1. Okay, 2.81. Okay, it's initiating the connection, and see what are the first thing. It has found some value. Okay, it has found a row. So the key values are my little row in my little family, and the qualifier is some qualifier, some value, and some timestamp. Now if I go back to my code, okay, I mean from the back end, I mean from the terminal. Okay, let me go down to terminal, and if I want to get it, I can simply say scan, and I will say my little HBase table, and I press enter, and there it is. Okay, so see, the row was called as my little row, which I added in my table. The column was called as my little family. Okay, this is what we have created at the beginning. Okay, it had some qualifier, so that's the name of my little family. The timestamp and the value was some value. So I can have any number of columns for this particular row. Okay, so if you would want to put it from the back end and then run that code once again, okay, that is also perfectly possible. So let me just see the put command. I don't remember it offhand. There it is. So put the column name, row name, colon, and the value. Okay, lovely. So let me use the same analogy, and from the back end, let me add one more value to my edge base, to my little edge base table. So I'm going to say from the backend, directly from the console, I'm going to say put, okay, my little edge base table, okay. Then I'm going to say comma. I'm going to use the same row. That is going to be my little row. Oops, there was a double quotes. I'll have a single quotes. I'll say my little row, comma. Then I would need to have my columns. Okay, the column is my little family. Okay, some qualifier. Okay, so single quotes, my little LITTLE family, colon, let's say brother. Okay, I close that and I'm going to say comma, and I need to give the value. So I don't have a brother, so I'll call it as any, single quotes, come on, single quotes, any brother. Okay, and I pressed enter, and now when I say scan, okay, there it is. So what do you see over here? I see the column. Okay, it has got brother, and remember it is sorted based on the column also. So if you're feeling that, hey, why is it showing me 2 rows, this is only for your understanding. If you say get, okay, so there is a command called as get that I had shown it to you last time. Okay, so one second, I can actually show you the get command also in my week 6. I had shown you the get command. Give me a second. Not scoop, before scoop we had done the get also. I want to show the get and show you when you get it, it will return you both the values. Yeah, there it is. Get the name of the table and the column. Okay, so I'll go back over here and I will say get the name of the table, okay, my little edge base table, comma, the name of the column, that is going to be my little row. Okay, single quotes, and when I press enter, see here, it's giving me both those columns. Okay, it's giving me the timestamp and it's giving me the values. So this is the way how you would be able to put something either from the front end or from the back end. Now since these values are already over here, if you want to go down to the code and you want to retrieve only those values, that is perfectly acceptable. So I can go over here. I need the H table because I would want to access that. Let me comment the put part of it, that's all. Yeah, table.put, I will comment it. Okay, the table.get is what I want to see. What are the values? It's looping through all the values, or else I just need scan, right? Okay, I can simply have scan, so that's enough. I've commented everything and that's it. So let me run this. Okay, so I have inserted some record from the, where is my save button? Yeah, there it is. I've inserted some record from the back end and now I'm trying to run it from the front end. Okay, so let me say right click, run as, Java application, and errors exist, cancel. Okay, I didn't see the error. Okay, let me go to problems. There should be something silly. Value cannot be resolved. Okay. So since I commented those things earlier, I should have commented these also. So Control Shift / will actually comment it. This is commented. I'll save this. There is no error. Okay, and now I say run as Java application. And if you look at the console, it is picking those values. Okay, let me scroll down. Okay, and over here, found row with those Okay, it's showing me only some qualifier. Okay, let me go ahead and see if I want to save that particular file. I think I have saved it. That's the reason how it is there. Just one second. Go back to my presentation of my week 6. So I started with my get. Okay, see here how I'm showing you the scan aspects. Okay, so you would need to save that particular table. The data is not being saved here. So go back here. Let me quickly show you how actually it's done, because I didn't show that dimension to you guys here. I've got it in another cheat sheet. So if you save it, you should actually be getting those values. So let me quickly think where I have added that. Okay, so go to my B drive, customers. I did it on this Friday with Thursday at JP Morgan. So I definitely remember that. And come on, where is my, oh, this is all my big examples. It should be in day 4, edgebase.pdf. Oh, this is my PDF copy. Okay. So I just need to go back and check. There's a way how you can save the values. The reason why it's not happening here is because it's while getting that value, whatever I have got it is only here. I'm just getting it. See here. The same thing is what I'm, okay, let me look at my loop to see if my loop is proper over here. That's one thing that I would want to check here, friends. So let me bring this code down a little bit. I can close this. There is no space over here. Too many people taking the windows. Okay, so hey, see here. I am scanning only the qualifier. Okay. Okay, so that's the reason why I'm getting only 1. Okay, so what am I going to do here is I am going to add one more value to the column. Okay, and the value that is there in the column is some qualifier brother. Okay, that's the value. I didn't add that column over here, so that's the reason. So I'm just going to say brother. It was not a problem with the saving, it was a problem with the code. Okay, so we have fixed that, and now let's run this. Okay, right click, run as Java application, scroll down. Okay, and there you see. So first it's showing you the my little row keys found, the brother and the timestamp, and then some qualifier and the timestamp. Okay, so this is how from the code, whatever you see in the console, guys, all of those things can be done from the code also. So just wanted to check with you guys. Guys, are you in sync with me? Are you following what's happening till now? Nishant, you came in a little bit late, it looks, friend. Okay, good, 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 thanks. Nishant, we did discuss about the project and what all things we have done. So please go through the recording, Nishant, because the first half an hour we have done that. If there's any doubt, I am always there, and you know my email address. Okay, it's there in almost every slide, every week slide in the admin part. You have my email address. Feel free to be in touch with me. Okay, thank you so much. So that was the quick demo on how to create a table from the Java code, insert values, put values, scan values. Then I went down to my command prompt CLI. I added a row from there. I came back to my Java code and retrieved that value. Wonderful. So now let's get down to some theoretical aspect. Okay, so there is one more example that is what we'll be seeing later on. Okay, so now what I would want to do is to talk about Zookeeper. Okay, so you saw here there was the use of your Zookeeper quite frequently. There it is. There you can see the Zookeeper version 3.3.2. So internally, Edgebase uses Zookeeper. So we have to see what is that. So let's talk about it. So a quick final touchdown on what all things we have learned. We started with our what is big data. We went down to Hadoop. We went down to HDFS, then set up our cluster. It would be a good practice for all of you to have your own cluster in Ubuntu. CDH is, yes, a very good idea, but then having your own will give you better control and better learning experience. So if time permits and if resources permit, please do that. Then we saw map radios. I started today's session by going down to the definitive guide and then pointing out to you what all are the additional things that you will have to do in the map radios. Then we saw PIG, which is for unstructured data. Then we saw Hive, that is for structured data. Okay, then we saw HBase, the theory part of it, and the CLI, and we saw Scoop. Today we have started with the project. We saw what is the HBase code, and now we are talking about Zookeeper. Okay, like I said, the deliverables is what data set you are going to take, what analysis you are going to do, and finally a Viva for the submission of those analysis. Cool. So now let me put this into a slideshow and then talk about the Zookeeper. Hey, we have seen this. Okay, so now what is Zookeeper? So Zookeeper is basically, it can be used with HBase or it can be used other than that also. Okay, so it's a scalable, distributed, open source coordination service for distributed applications. So originally it was created by Yahoo. So they have got a lot of applications that was working on Zookeeper, and HBase is one of those things which is also using Zookeeper. Okay, so it gives you a simple set of primitives to implement higher level services like synchronization, configuration management, consensus between different leaders. If there are different masters, how do I choose a leader, groups, and naming in a distributed system. To some extent, this is like LDAP, okay? You know what is LDAP, Lightweight Directory Access Protocol, or Active Directory, which is basically for the naming services. So this is, think of Zookeeper as something wider than that, okay? Then, why should I use Zookeeper? So look, the first point is something that I read and I thought I should not remove it. So this is wonderful. So if you love to have sleepless nights, debugging distributed synchronization problems, first of all, if it is distributed, it's tough managing it. And when the distributed components talk to each other, it's even more trouble. So if you want to spend sleepless nights debugging the distributed synchronization problems, please ignore the rest of the presentation. Okay, I think there was a request from Pankaj. Okay, so there was an audio issue he was saying. So let me come back quickly to this slide. So Pankaj, this is a slide that you want to talk about, right? Can you hear me loud and clear now, Pankaj? A quick S. Yeah, good, wonderful. So what is Zookeeper? Like I said, it is a scalable, distributed, open source coordination service for distributed applications. It was developed by Yahoo. Okay, they had a lot of distributed applications in Yahoo where they were using Zookeeper, and then it was given to the Apache Foundation. So it gives us a set of options, okay, with some best practices to implement higher level services for synchronization, configuration, maintenance, consensus, leader selection when you have got multiple leaders. How do I select a leader? Groups and naming. Like I said, it was something similar to LDAP. Okay, so that's all I discussed on slide number 1. So now, if you want to, wonderful, thanks Pankaj. So if you love to have sleepless nights, debugging distributed synchronization problems, please ignore the rest of the presentation. This is what I really love. I'm going to try to make this relevant to a lot of my other slides. It's wonderful. I like that caption. So what's the pain point that we have in implementing distributed services? So people who are consultants, they would know that, hey, programs on its own are okay. But when two programs start to talk to each other, that's where the issue starts. Okay, so you would have complex distributed algorithms are very notoriously difficult to implement correctly. Okay, they are prone to race conditions and deadlocks, and distributed deadlocks are the worst, very much. Different implementations lead to management complexity when the applications are deployed. So to solve all of these things, okay, you need some coordination service. So continuing on, other programming models using distributed locks or state machine replication are very difficult to use correctly. Zookeeper solves all of these problems by giving us a simple, familiar model. It provides reusable code libraries for common uses, okay, use cases, and it's very easy to use. Fine. So that's the why of the Zookeeper. So let's quickly look at who is using Zookeeper. Okay, we have got a company called as Deep Dive. Okay, so which does research and provide high quality content using advanced search technologies. The Zookeeper is used to manage state, control index deployment, and a lot of other tasks. Kata, which is a distributed Lucene indexes, typically in a grid environment. So Zookeeper is the node and master and index management in the grid. 101 Tech, which uses consulting. So they use a system based out of Hadoop, Kata, Oracle batch jobs, and web components. Edgebase, we know that, is an open source distributed column-oriented database on Hadoop. So Zookeeper is used for selecting the master when there are multiple masters. Okay, server lease management, bootstrapping, and coordination between servers so that the state is maintained. Rackspace, that's a UK-based company. They use the email and apps team uses Zookeeper to coordinate sharding. That means automatically splitting across to different regions, handling responsibility changes and distributed locking. Yahoo uses it for a myriad of services in Yahoo for leader selection, configuration management, cluster, load balancing, sharding, locking, work queues, group membership, lots and lots. They were the original founders of ZK. And it's going to be there in the Cloudera distribution of Hadoop, and the Hadoop namespace is a candidate. Okay, sorry, name node is a candidate. So in Gen 2, to some extent, Zookeeper has been used, okay, to decide the active passive way how the name node would work. So that's who is really using ZK in the industry now. Let's continue. So if you look at the basic concepts of ZK, what is it? It starts with allowing distributed processes to coordinate with each other through a shared hierarchical namespace. This is similar to a file system. So that's the similarity to LDAP. Okay. The namespace consists of data registers, that is Z nodes. It gives a very simple API and a programming model. Okay. Data is kept in memory, high throughput, low latency. Provides strictly ordered updates and accesses. It gives you a couple of guarantees, like you have got ACID in your databases, right? Relational databases. So there are some guarantees what we will see later on, okay, in a couple of slides. And it also supports additional features such as change notification, ephemeral notes, and conditional updates. So a lot of things is what is this product has. Wonderful product. So again, what are the various use cases? We have seen these things. Okay, so I wouldn't spend time in reading it. This is almost the same thing what we have done. But then let's look at what is it in Edgebase. So typically we know that they understood what is the problem. How did Edgebase come? It came from the concept of big table. We have seen that. So in Edgebase you have got HMaster, which is the master, and we know that it is an active passive model. So how do I identify the leader? Okay, that's the use case where Zookeeper is going to be used. Configuration information, remember we said configuration conf is equal to new HTable configuration. So that bootstrapping information is again used by the Zookeeper. And the client, where does he look up? He will always look up at the master. Okay, he is not going to talk to the region servers directly. So that's another use case. Sorry, he will always look at the Zookeeper. The Zookeeper will have the root region of the HMaster, and then he will communicate to the region server, which will have all the regions. Okay, so group memberships and your ACL, access control list, is also something that they are planning to build into, and store schema information like your Derby. Okay, like Hive, if you want to have any schema information, if you want it to be stored, that's what is coming up. We don't have that right now. So that's the use cases of ZK. So we have seen this. Okay, what is Zookeeper again? This is what is the data model. So it is basically a hierarchical namespace. Okay, each node has got a data and has got multiple children's. The data is read and written in its entirety. That means it's atomic. So atomicity is one of the important guarantees that is given by Zookeeper. So a couple of the APIs, I'm showing it to you here. And this is at a very high level how the Zookeeper service would be. See here, there are multiple servers, there are multiple clients. It's a Zookeeper service who finds the leader. Okay, so all servers store a copy of the data in the memory. Okay, a leader is elected at startup. Followers, service, clients, all updates go through the leader because you should have one master, right? And update responses are sent when a majority of servers have persisted the change. Okay. So this is in general how the servers would be working, and this is same for Edgebase also. So let's look at the guarantees. Okay, since the goal is to be a basis for construction of a more complicated service such as synchronization, the set of guarantees what Zookeeper gives us is sequential consistency. Updates from a client will be applied in the order that they were sent. Atomicity, I've explained this, either it will be full or it will fail, no partial result. Single system image, a single client will see the same view of the service regardless of the server it is connected to. Reliability, once an update has been applied, it will persist from that point forward until a client overrides that update. Okay, it's reliable, so you won't see the dirty reads what we are having. And timeliness, the client view of the system is guaranteed to be up to date within a certain time bound. So these are some of the performance guarantees that has been issued by the ZK. So now coming back to where it is used in Edgebase, master failover, okay, region server and master discovery is done via Zookeeper. Edgebase clients connect to Zookeeper to find out the configuration data. Remember I said about bootstrapping, and region servers and master failure detection. So that's where Zookeeper is used with Edgebase. Okay, and just to show you a little bit more, if there are more than one master, they will fight till the time one of them is selected as a leader. There is a root region server. This Z node holds the location of the server hosting the root of all the tables in Edgebase. RS is a directory in which there is a Z node based per region server. This is like a nodes, okay? Region servers also have to register themselves with Zookeeper when they come online, and whenever there is a region server failure, like a node failure in Edgebase, okay, it is detected via ephemeral Z nodes and notification via Zookeeper. The master splits the edits out per region. Remember how the data blocks are replicated across other nodes if one of the data nodes in HDFS fail. It's the same architecture. Okay. So this is something we saw 3.3.2, right? So all of these things are already there in the Zookeeper. 3.4 is something that is new coming up. Okay, it is good for the industry because now they are going to talk about encryption. They are going to talk about testing. We have got a very good tool called as Mockito, so you could use that for testing Zookeeper. Okay, so the last slide would be more Zookeeper in Edgebase. So they are planning to have the table schema and state in Zookeeper, read-only, online. Zookeeper state transitions region server, that is node transitions, is to be done via Zookeeper. Earlier it was done through your master, and store region assignments in Zookeeper for every region server. That information was there in your H master. So they are planning to remove the H master and keep almost everything with the Zookeeper. So like we have got the powered by page which shows who all are using it. I gave you an extensive example of use cases for Edgebase. Similarly, you can have a look at the Zookeeper use cases, Edgebase use cases. So this was a quick view of the Zookeeper for you guys. Okay, it's used internally. Okay, but then you can use it in other projects also, friends. Cool. So I hope the overall at a very high level general view of what is Zookeeper. So like I said, it will be impossible to cover up everything in depth in a course, but then our intention is if there's somebody asks you something, you should know what it is. Okay. Remember what, why, and if possible, a how. So clear until now, folks, as to how Zookeeper would be acting as a coordination service? Any responses would be appreciated. Okay, cool, guys. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So do a little bit more of reading. Each one of them is a book on its own. That's why it's an ecosystem component. It's huge, but you don't have to dwell deep into it. You should know these things, and depending upon what project you're getting in your Hadoop environment, you should move on. That's what I would say. So I think it's about, I've been speaking for about 1.5 hours now. So what is pending is we have got our second demo pending, and we have got our Uzi also pending. So let's take up a quick break right now, friends. Okay, it's about 3:55 our time. So how about taking up a quick 15 minutes break? Okay, we can come back and then we can start with our second example, and I will walk you through Uzi. Okay, would that be fine, friends? Thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay, so let's have tea. Yeah, 4:15 exactly, Srilal. So 3:57. So 4:15 is when we should start with our second example of Edgebase, and we'll continue on with Uzi after that. Thank you, everybody. So just muting myself for the time being. Thanks. Hi folks, just wanted to check if you are back. If you can take up a quick roll call to see if you are back. Say yes, that'll be great. Okay, good Pankaj, you're back. Good. Others? Okay. Okay, Nishant, M2, me too. Okay, good. Srilal Pani. Okay, he is back. Srilal is back. Pani, are you there? Cool, he should be joining us very soon. So great, folks. So that was what we saw today was about the project. Then we saw the table of contents of the definitive guide. We went down to HBase and did an example through the front end. That is if we have Eclipse installed on the Linux machine. After that, we continued with our next aspect of it, that is the Zookeeper. So now we are going to go on with our second example. So let me show you what are we doing here. Okay, so in the second example, I'm going to call this as edge-based test. What are we doing here is from the front end, like last time, again creating edge-based configuration. Okay, but I'm not creating a specific everything in public static void main, so I'm creating separate functions over here. So I'm creating a create table function which will have a table name and an array of column families, because you can have technically multiple column families. Then I'm creating a new class called as edge-based-admin with the configuration. Check if the table name is there, or else use the edge table descriptor and create a table. Okay, so that's new, what we have in this part of the code. Okay, how to create a new table. Then you can use the delete table. Again, using edge-based-admin, we are seeing how to delete a table, okay, from the backend. Okay, first, before deleting, you should disable it and then you should delete it. Then you could add a record. That's our put. See over here, I'm still using edge table and using put. We use the bytes.2 bytes because it will convert it from a appropriate Java data type to a byte array. So that can be understood by the put class. So you do the table.put and say that the record is inserted. Then you can, I'm showing you the complete CRUD operations over here. So we are talking about the delete record, which will take the table name and any record row. So see here, that's the advantage of HBase. You can go down to, you're doing random updates and random read. Okay, so here you're creating an array list. Using put, similar to that, there is a delete command using which you're deleting something, a record from a particular table. Okay, and this is what is the get. So you specify the table name and the row key that you want to get. Okay, the same get what we did earlier, we are displaying that. And finally, the scan is what I call it as get all records. So again, using htable, I'm calling scan, calling the result scanner and getting the row, the family, the qualifier, the timestamp, and if you have any value for it. Okay, the row name, the column family name, colon is a qualifier, the timestamp, and what are the value for that particular qualifier. So that's how I have created multiple functions. So we are going to create a table called as course. We are going to add a record called as ZKB with your column families as your math. A column is the grade and course are the column families, and math is the qualifier, and the value is over here. So what do you mean LOC of table definition? You're talking about location of table definition? Are you talking about location, Pankaj? Okay, so the location would be there in the look at the architecture. If you see, recollect it last time, it would be there in the memory in your Zookeeper and your Edgemaster. Okay, and the physical files would be there in the representation for the region server in the regions. At the end of the day, everything is in HDFS. Okay, because HBase also it is a data store which is going to ultimately get persisted in HDFS along with the replication. Fair enough? Wonderful. So after ZKB, so we are creating Bono, another user. Then we are getting one record for ZKB. Okay. Then I am showing all the records. Okay. Then I'm deleting one records of Banio. Then I am getting all the records and then showing it to you. So this covers up the complete CRUD operations what you have typically for a data store. So let me go ahead and run this example and show it to you. So I'm going to go ahead and do Cloudera. And I would need my Cloudera so that I can open up my HBase test 1. Okay, that's my code. So Control A, Control C. And I need to go down to, let me minimize this also, let me expand this. I'm going to create a new class called as HBase1. Okay, and I'm going to say finish and Control A, Control V. Okay, it didn't get copied properly. I'll say Control A, Control C, and I would say over here Control A, Control V. Okay, so I have got all the values. Okay, I've created HBase 1, so it should have been, yeah, so I need to find replace. So let me go down to edit. Let me go down to find replace, and whatever is there with your HBase, I need to replace that, sorry, HBase test. Okay, I've called it as HBase, just give me a second. The code is HBase test 1. Okay, I need to call it as HBase 1. Small typo in the way I have created, I'll say replace all. Okay, and I'll quickly go ahead and replace my Java file name also to HBase 1. Let me save this. Here, what's happening? There is, it's showing me as HBase 1.1. Let me scroll down. Okay, so it should just be HBase 1, so that's fine. If I do this, that should resolve the error. Okay, cool. So let me go ahead to the problems. Okay, admin is closed, table is never closed and all that. I'm fine with that. It's all warnings. It's not an error. And let me run this now. I'm going to say run as Java application. And see over here. So first, we are inserting records. We are creating a table called as scores. We are inserting records for 2 users, getting all the records for 1 user, showing all the records, then deleting 1 user, okay, deleting 1 user, showing the records, and then again showing all the records. Okay. Now if you even go down to our command line console, okay, let me minimize this. Let me close my Java file, and over here if I say scan scores and press enter, there it is. Okay, you see the course without any value as 90, art and max as some numbers, and grade is going to be 5. Okay, so that's how you see that we can perform a full CRUD operations using the code. So please try out these codes. It's important, folks. Okay, so try out these things. That's how you will have an understanding. So that's your part of your HBase, folks. Okay, so we have seen how to go about with it. We have played around with it. We saw the command line console. We saw how to use our example of the Java API. Same way you could have used Apache Thrift, or you could have used REST web servers also. Okay, so let's go back to the slide deck to see where we are. So this is where officially the course would have got finished, but then since Vikas and a couple of you wanted to have a look at the scoop, I'm going to cover up scoop also, sorry, Uzi, which is a workflow. So I'm going to cover up Uzi. Okay, so let's get down to the Uzi. Let's minimize this, and let me get down to the Edureka as customers, and inside week 7, this is what I have taken up from the Yahoo directly. I didn't do any transformation of data. Okay, I haven't added my points to it because this was pretty good enough. Okay, so that's the reason why I have picked up the presentation as it is. Okay, didn't do much of a change because this was complete in its own. So that's the reason why I'm going to keep it as it is. Give me a second. Where is the questions window? Okay, here is the questions window. Can it become a little bit more big? It should be. Okay, there we go. Lovely, wonderful. So let's continue, guys. Let's move on to the Uzi so that you can understand that. Now, when we were there with the JP, they also wanted to check, hey, I want to schedule something. Okay, that means that at around 9 o'clock in the night, I want to create some kind of cron jobs. I want to run a Java code first, which will do some pre-processing on the data. Then I would want to go ahead and run a MapReduce code. If it is succeeded, I want to do something and then continue on with Pig or Hive. So if you want to create a workflow, the way to do that is using Uzi. Again, Yahoo has popularized Uzi as a workflow. Okay, so just wanted to check. Apani, are you back, friend? Okay, so let me minimize this. Let me get the questions. Cool. So let's continue with this. So what are the main features what the author is going to show here? How to execute and monitor workflows in Hadoop. Okay. Then how to do periodic scheduling of workflows, which is a very common requirement in the industry. How to trigger execution based on data availability, like sliding windows and rolling windows. We will see that. What is the command line interface, and a quick look at the web console. And talking about adoption, a lot of users have been using it since its launch in the GitHub and in production in Yahoo as of 2011, running more than 200,000 jobs per day. So that's the use of Uzi. So this is what is a acyclic graph of jobs. So you can start, you can create your own controls. Okay, all of these things, whatever you see in yellow are the actions. Okay, Hive action was not there when this presentation was there, but then in the new version you have got Hive and you have got DSCP also. Okay, distributed copy from your Unix system onto your Linux system is also possible. So you start. Okay, once you start, you have got a Java main. Okay, that's a plain Java-based program, and once that's finished, it will branch out into a streaming job and a pig job. Then you might analyze that results. Then you have a decision to see if it is fine. Again, go to a Java job, do a file system job of copying or retrieving files, and then it will end. If the decision is I need more, then go ahead and create more MapReduce jobs. So this is the way how your Uzi would be working, folks. Okay. Now, just to show you, if I'm doing a simple word count example that we have done on day one, okay, that's a hello world example. So there is a hello world example for Uzi also. So all that you'll have to do is you'll have to map what is going to be the input directory and output directory, because you know that in a default MapReduce, you would need to specify the source from there, where the file should happen and where the output of the file count should go, right? So those are the values that you will be entering. So sample projects are easily available on the net also for these things. So please play around with this. Not necessary in the POC, okay, but then if you know this, it will be good, because typically when you go ahead, once it's matured Hadoop in a big way, a lot of these things would be done via workflows itself, okay. So it's good to know the workflow right at the beginning as we start. Cool. So if you look at the workflow nodes, you have got a start and kill, decision, and a join. And the actions is basically MapReduce, Pig, HDFS, Subflow, Java. You don't have Hive, but this was with the old slide deck. So Hive is already there in the latest version. I have checked that out. If you talk about a workflow application, the metadata is stored in the workflow.xml file. The configurations would be there in your config-default, and all the lib folder will contain the directory of your jar files and scripts, etc. So all of those things will be there in the lib folder. So if you are running an Uzi workflow job, okay, so typically you would want to ensure that the workflow is what is put into the HDFS. So you say HDFS FS put. Then you specify a properties file which will specify the input and the output directory, because remember we had it as placeholders, as variables. You have to give the value to the variables, right? So this is through the properties file, you'll be giving values to the variables. And finally, at the command prompt, you will be running the Uzi job. Okay, so Uzi job -run, specify what is the properties file, and the whole job would be executed. This is simply to show you how do I monitor a Uzi workflow job. Okay, so again, through the command line, you can get the info about the ID, whatever is the ID, what you are checking for that. Okay, and it also shows you where is the log of that particular, how to look at the log of the workflow. One is to get the info out of the workflow, and other is to get the log and the definitions of the workflow. So you can see here the parameters are different. One parameter is info, one parameter is log, and one parameter is definition. This is not the scheduling example, Pankaj. In the next couple of slides, you will see the scheduling time also. Okay, you'll actually see that. So this was basically a standard example wherein I'm not giving the time dimension. So just showed you what is Uzi. The author is showing you what is Uzi. He has got an example of scheduling also, which will come up soon. Now there are two components in Uzi. One is a workflow engine, and you have got a coordinator also. So separate XML files. So the coordinator will create an action. Okay, that action will start the workflow. That's the job of your workflow engine. And you see that it triggers multiple acyclic graph of your process. Okay. Similarly, you will have n workflows. Okay. So the coordinator would be monitoring all of those n workflows. Okay. And then you will end that. So that's how you can have an end-to-end coordinator job that will be running across multiple workflows. That's only the life cycle. Now let's see what you asked me, Pankaj. You wanted to have a time trigger. That means if you want to execute your workflow every 15 minutes, okay, you could do that. Okay, so let's see how to do that. In your coordinator XML file, you have to specify the frequency. You can also execute it on every day at a particular time. Okay, you can execute it at a frequency. So all of those options are available. Okay, what is the scheduling time it has, how you want it, Pankaj, or what is the frequency for execution of these files. Okay, these jobs. Okay, so that's a first example. Now let's say you have got a job scheduled for every 1 hour, but then you would want it to execute only when the data is available in HDFS. Okay, so you check whether the input data is available in HDFS. If the input data is existing, then you would go ahead with that. So this is what is a combination of your time and data triggering. So this is how you would do that. So you would specify whatever is in blue are the values that needs to be provided. Okay, so input logs. Okay, then you specify what is the year, month, date, hour, all of those values. With the initial instance, timing is also given. So on the top you can see there is a time that has been given along with the values. Okay, so this is how you can do your data trigger. Third thing is rolling windows. See, these are all kind of pre-processing jobs, right? Like for example, access 15 minutes data set, and at the end of 1 hour, I would want all of them to be merged together as an hourly data set. Okay, see, like what happens with the OLTPs. When I was with Microsoft, what they wanted was that initially they have got record till a particular month, then they want live data to go into it. So not really real time, but then like say they do work every week. So if I'm doing analysis on a Friday, I'm doing it on the last week's record. Okay, but then after Friday 9 o'clock, automatically I want that weeks to be appended to a original data set, so that that's something that's what they can analyze next week. Or else in Hive, I want that to be stored inside the Hive warehouse folder, inside the name of your table, so that when you do a Hive, automatically that record will also be selected. Okay, so this is how you can access 15 minutes data sets and then roll them up, and that's what we call it as rolling windows. Okay. So how do we do the rolling windows again? You will have to specify the frequency of the rolling and the other values, what is the data input, what is the current. So all those information needs to be put in. See, and remember, this is again non-coding. This is basically like configuration management. Okay, so you will have to configure the values, that's all. So there is no what you call Java coding over here. It's basically XML file. Then you have got something called as sliding windows. So you access last 4 hours of data, 24 hours of data, and roll them every 1 hour. So sliding windows can either be hourly or sliding windows can be daily. So you have got a data set. Okay, then you would want to roll Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This is also another use case what Microsoft had. Okay, so how do we do that rolling windows? You will be doing it through, the sliding windows, you'll be doing it through USI. It becomes easy, right? So instead of writing map reduce multi-chaining of jobs, one way is you can do it with the help of chaining also. And the second way to do this is you'll be doing it through a workflow also. So both of them are definitely possible. So again, some XML files to decide how the sliding window would happen. So like I said, you have got your workflow, then you have got your coordinator. So the definition would be there in the coordinator.xml, and your coordinator config default.xml will be the configuration file for the coordinator. And an HDFS directory should have these files. So once you run a coordinator, what we saw was earlier I showed you how to run a individual workflow. So if you want to run the coordinator, again, you do the same thing. Okay, you specify the job.properties, you put that particular job into HDFS, okay, and then run that via your properties file. You could again monitor the job status of the coordinator, monitor the job log, and monitor the coordinator job definition also. So all of those things are very much possible. So this is what is the USI web console. So this will show you as a UI as to what all jobs have been executed. Okay, when it was executed, see over here how it was succeeded. Okay, and look at the number of pages. Page 1 of 156. This is from Yahoo. Page 1 to 50 of 7,764, and the day is 2010. Okay, so you see here the kind of workflow jobs that was scheduled by Yahoo. So this is the actual screenshot of Yahoo. Okay, so see the number of jobs. Then you can get the job info. Okay, when it was created, what was the start time, when it was last modified, and what's the end time. Okay, all that information is available here. Okay, what all are the actions? This is basically a pick job. Okay. Similarly, if you have the number of runs, what you have inside the job info, if you have got anything failed, it will show you that this is failed also. Just showing you an example of on the web console how a failed action would look like. If you have some error messages like some variable you have in the config.properties file, you have forgotten to put in the appropriate value, how to do that? So it will give you an error like see over here, input directory true cannot be resolved. So having said this, what's new thing what you have? More out-of-box actions, it's already there. This CP and Hive is already there in the next version. Okay. Authentication framework is something that has been looked up. I think in the next about 3 months to 6 months, the major focus in Hadoop is going to be the security dimension. So people are a little bit concerned as to how do I have authentication authorization, what I have in my data warehousing models, how do I apply that to the Hadoop jobs. So work is happening on that. So the framework for authentication is for authenticating a client with Uzi, and how do I authenticate a Uzi workflow with some downstream services, like I want to push this across to my data warehouse or to my database, how to do that. Then they're looking at asynchronous data sets. Okay, so again, nothing much is happening on the authentication. Although this was a 2010 presentation, till now, not much work has happened. But the only fact that people are looking at the functionality, and big companies are having their own kind of authentication. But then more the people start using these ecosystem components, more the need for security would happen. So hopefully by end of 2013, you should have a much more secure Hadoop. Okay, this is just to show you that Uzi is open source and it's available in GitHub. Okay, it's in yahoo.github. You can get the complete documentation for Uzi also, and look at who all are using Uzi. There is a tech group that is available in the Yahoo site. Okay, so that would be the quick overview of Uzi for you folks. Okay, so I think that would be the end of our complete training. Okay, so let me get back to the weekly presentations to see the week-wise to see where we are. Okay, so today we saw edge-based codes and Zookeeper. Okay, and then did a quick overview of what is Uzi. So any questions, folks, from what we have seen till today? You can ask me. This would be the right time to ask, folks, if you have got some questions. I hope you are very clear on what is the project that you would want to do, right, friends? What do you need to do in the project, right? Pankaj, Uzi demo would require a lot of setup and all of those things. It's a little bit complex, so I wouldn't have time. I haven't planned for that. Uzi, Vikas and all the other people wanted to let you know what is Uzi, so I'm showing you those things. So Uzi demo would take a little bit more time. I didn't have that time, friend. So I wouldn't be able to show you that, but then I would suggest you to work. I worked with this about a year back. I just saw this yesterday to see what are the new features that's available. Okay, I didn't download it, and I haven't tried with it, friend, until now. The new version. Fair enough, Pankaj? But I will request you to please go ahead, plan these things. Okay, try out these things. A lot of new things are coming, so you would have to plan up these things. Okay, the main focus should be in the next 1 month's time would be on the POC. Okay, just install Uzi and follow the documentation. As simple as that. Create a simple map reduce job. Okay, and then put it into the workflow.xml, add those things. That's it. You're talking about Uzi, right, Pankaj? Or are you talking about the POC? If you can list down POC or Uzi. Okay, so yeah, for Uzi, it is like I said, download it, look at the documentation. That's it. That's how I did it some time back. Cool, friend. Thank you. So Srilal, where are we with reference? Have you thought of some project that you are planning to do? Pani, Pankaj, Nishant? Others who all are reading, listening to this recording, they will also have to submit to us what is their POC that they are planning to do, and of course follow that up within a month's time to see what the progress is. If you get stuck, call support, let me know, and we'll be able to help you. Okay, you haven't thought much on that, Nishant. That's fine. But then you should get these data sets, like I said, very soon. I will simply send a quick email to Hisham to requesting you to send these data sets. Typically, it will be an individual because what was happening was that, Srilal, if you keep it as a group, again, coordination and all that, it didn't work out. So individual is what is the base. Yeah, please plan out. If you need to brainstorm, okay, you can send me an email and we could brainstorm also to think what's your line of thoughts. This is Hisham on the phone. Just one sec, folks. Right, folks, he hasn't sent it across to your batch. Both the week 7 presentations and what I showed it to you, the documentation, Uzi and all of that, plus the data sets should be there with you maybe in the next half an hour's time. Srilal, are you able to hear now? Okay, sorry. My mic was there in an awkward position since I was taking the phone, right? So that's why. Able to hear now? Yeah, now it's clear. Wonderful. Yeah, I turned the mic up because I was speaking to him on the phone, right? So that's the reason. So he confirmed that he has not sent it across to your batch. He'll be sending it across to you today. He'll be sending it across to you now. Both the week 7 stuff, that is the edge base and the Zookeeper and Uzi, and your data sets also. Exactly, Srilal. So you would need to plan your individual project, share with us what is the data set that you are planning to work on, what are you trying to do, which data set, what analysis you are planning to do. Okay, start with it. If you get stuck or if you want to have some brainstorming, we can help you out with that. Okay. And then once you finish it, it will be done through a Viva. So maybe 15 minutes to half an hour, everybody would be presenting it. Okay. And after that, that will help you to understand, and in between we might, before you actually present, if you can share the findings with me, so if something more needs to be done, we can give you input on that also. Srilal, references for the projects would be basically data sets. So every data set you can have any kind of reading. So if you're looking at some sample projects, what you're talking about, the projects that we have worked on, at least on the live things, that would be confidential, friend. So it wouldn't be correct to share those things, and I can't as per my confidentiality agreement also. So this would be the individual data sets, what you are planning. From whatever you have learned, that's what I'm expecting. Sure, Srilal. To be very frank, I think a month's time, about 4 weeks should be okay. So maximum we can take about 6 weeks. Okay, don't take it more than that, because then it will get delayed, right? Yep, starting this week itself, because I will just, after I finish the class, I'm going to request Shisham to send it across to you right away, so that you can even start with it right away. Wonderful. Wonderful, guys. So I think that's it for our session. The sharing of the knowledge, whatever we have done is done. So now you would need to apply whatever has been, whatever you have learned in the form of exercises and classes and interactions, your experience, put it into practice. Okay, we'll be there to help you, to give you some idea as to how to move on. Okay, and as a word of suggestion, there are a lot of free codes available on the net also for a lot of things. Okay, so try to use that to understand what is it happening. So every project should, every POC should have a MapReduce component, should have a pig and a hive component as mandatory. Optional is your Edgebase, Scoop, and that's it. Uzi if you want, that's optional, but then hive, pig, and MR is must. Cool. So folks, if you don't have anything, I think we can wrap it up for our final session. So thanks for your time. Thanks for listening to me. I hope you would have gained, your knowledge would have grown up a little bit from what we have discussed in the class. I tried my best. I know it was delayed by 2 weeks, but then it was beyond my control. Okay, otherwise we should have been done 2 weeks back, and you would have been working on your projects. We lost 15 days in between. My apologies for that. But like I said, it was beyond my control, folks. So start working with it. People who are listening to the recording, they should also do the same thing like what I have mentioned now. So start with it, and God bless, and let's catch up somewhere in future. You're most welcome, Pani. Thanks, Pankaj. You too have a great day, and have a great weekend. Have a great week ahead of you. Thanks, Srilal. Thanks, appreciate that. Thank you. So thanks everybody. So this is Venkat signing off for the final time, and we will catch up somewhere in future. Bye-bye for now. If you have anything, folks, an open invitation, send across an email, and I'll do my best to reply back on time, because we get stuck up in so many things work-wise, so sometimes it might get delayed. So please bear with the delay in replying to the emails, friend. Thank you, everybody, and bye-bye. Thanks, Srilal.
The organizer has ended the session, and this call will be disconnected. Goodbye.